Okay, we are back on with another video on the little Fiat 126, and if you've been keeping up with the series, then you already know where we're at in this part of the build. But if you don't, I'm going to give you a little bit of the rundown of why it's on the channel. Now, this bright yellow Fiat is in the workshop because it's getting a full custom air installation, and that requires a lot of fabrication in the front and the rear. During the process of the fabrication, we found out that it's very rotten and hiding a lot of repairs, and we've been waiting for these wings like you see on the screen now. And in this video, we're going to be getting this wing onto that car and hopefully that wing onto that car, because we need to get back to what we're actually here doing, not doing a bunch of little repairs all over the car. We have obviously prepped this area here, so it's been epoxy primed on the inside. This area has been bare metaled all the way around because that's where we'll be welding from. We'll be welding from this side and the other side as well. Obviously, weld through primed. But yeah, the rest of it has been epoxy primed throughout. Now, the only thing to do is to actually get it fitted up, do lots of checks and alignments. Got to put the door on, make sure that actually lines up. And then what we can do is weld it in and continue the process on the other side. I'll let you into the little secret. I've already tried this wing on, hence me using the Clecos as pictured here. And if you don't know what a Cleco is, it's basically a tool that allows you to pull two pieces of metal together when you drill through both of them at the same time. You put the Cleco through the two panels and then you let go and it holds those two panels together, sort of like a mole grip, and it holds it all in place. And these are very handy when you're fitting things up, because when you're pulling a panel on and off multiple times, you are going to want to put it in the exact same spot every time, and that's what the Clecos allow you to do. And that's exactly what I had to do with this wing multiple times, which you cannot see in this footage, but it took a long time to get it fitting up. But for a reproduction panel, it fits fairly decently, and it is all ready to be welded in. Well, most of it anyway. And once again, I'm apologising for the background noise of this video. I guess you kind of get a raw feel of what the workshop actually sounds like day to day. Of course, we are busy day to day and we have a lot of work to do because there's many cars that come through the workshop day to day. However, that compressor noise needs to go. And I do have a new compressor on the way, but the noise of it in the background of all the clips actually does my head in. The only way I can compare it to day-to-day life is when you go out in public and some psychopath has actually made their text tone the same as your alarm clock noise. So when they get a text in public, you get that horrible sick feeling in your stomach because you think someone's waking you up. That's the same feeling I have when I hear that compressor going off. Anyway, rant over. We're going to continue welding on this wing to the little Fiat. The reason we spent ages making it fit perfectly, trying the door on, etc, etc, is because it's a wing that you weld onto the car. It's not a bolt-on problem, so we have to make sure it fits perfectly, because once it's welded in, obviously you can't adjust the positioning of it. So making sure you spend a lot of time making it fit and then weld it in. Hopefully you don't have any problems. And after a certain amount of time of filling in a bunch of plug welds, we have a new wing on the Fiat. Finally, just need to address the welds, make it look seamless, and then we are finally able to move on to the driver's side. My tool of choice at the minute, finger file, 40 grit 3M Cubitron belts. It seems to get the welds down nicely. As long as your compressor can keep up, it's all good. Lightly go over it with the die grinder and just clean it up afterwards with a DA, just to make sure the metal is a nice finish once you're all said and done. And that is the very first wing I have ever welded to a car. Never welded a wing to a car. I've put in patch panels in places, but I've never done a complete wing, so pretty happy with how that turned out. The only thing I have to do now is chuck some primer on it, but we also have to do a little bit more welding to the inner arch to make sure that whole area is finished, but we'll do that once the tub is in. Next point of action is to go onto the other side and basically replicate what we've done on the passenger side. So we have to brace it up again. So up from the side of the chassis, up into the scuttle panel, and then up into the front panel, just because when we remove the wing, we don't want the front panel to droop or the scuttle to droop, and we want them to remain in the same space. So we're bracing them up so they can't go anywhere, and that way we can remove the wing, and we're not going to be worried if everything moves out of its original positioning. That being said, this is a very old car and a very old Fiat at that. So the chances of this car being symmetrical side to side from the factory in the first place is probably low anyway. But you've got to get it close enough. So we're just going to take the precautions because we can. And once we've done that, we're free to basically rip the entire wing off. So drilling out all the spot welds, I'm using a 10mm drill bit instead of like a finger file or a spot weld drill bit. Seems to work very decently on this car. Some other cars it doesn't, but on this car the spot welds are very weak and it seems to work quite well. So that's what we're going with, I guess. Now that I've drilled into a bunch of spot welds, it's time to basically cut the panel off in little sections so I can get behind the panel and chisel them off. So I'm cutting just near the spot welds, but not into the spot welds, just to get the bulk of it out of the way so I can see behind the panel. I'm going to save this inner arch, but obviously it's had to repair that and repair there. So I'm actually going to cut all of that out again because we could just get panels for that. But yeah, cutting it out in a weird place. This has all been obviously modified before and it's really nastily plug welded back together. The other side was actually okay, but this side is going to be a bit nasty. So I'm going to try and grind it away from the underneath so we can keep that top layer and just re-drill some new holes in it. And then, yeah, just pick away at cleaning all the areas up. Make sure we get the side of the front panel all buttoned up again. And yeah, probably do the same repairs that we did to this side. But yeah, now the joys of trying to get this back together. Fun. Not good. This is going to take a while. Let me join you when it is back in a state to put a new wing on. So, on the grand scheme of things, this side's actually a lot nicer. So, the repairs that we have to do, I have got to clean up all this area. I've got all the stuff off it. Just need to tidy it up a little bit and make that look nice. I accidentally cut into this seam here, so I've got to weld that back up. Clean up some of these little areas around here. I've got to clean up this area here because I think we could still use that bit of the windscreen. All the way down here look good. Put the chisel through just there, so we've got to weld that back up. Clean all these little surface areas up, and probably a repair up here. Yeah, at the top of the Front balance again, same thing. And clean up the edge, and hopefully it's all usable. So this side's actually looking a little bit better than the other side. But of course, we have to grind it all back, get it all smooth, get it all neutralized, and then we can start playing with it. So I'm going to do that tomorrow because it's Wednesday night and I'm going home. It's getting dark and I'm really tired because I've been on this all day. Also, quick one. Look at this. This is my new sign. I actually found this in a gentleman's pickup truck in a petrol station. It's actually really old combine harvester, like back panel. It's got a bit of an edge to it. So it's not like a flat sign. It's got a little bit of an edge to it. But yeah, I see that in the back and I was like, gotta have that, gotta have that. And I was like, how much do you want for it? He's like, 20 quid. And I was just like, I don't actually have 20 quid. I have a tenner. He's like, that'll do. So I got this for £10 last week. So I'm chuffed to bits. I also got the old Pirelli sign as well. That was a freebie. So yeah, I'm filling up the walls and stuff gradually. Got this F1 side pod by a lovely subscriber that gifted this to me. Love that. And of course, the TSW sign is probably the best sign you've ever seen in your entire life. Side quest done. Now I'm going home.
12 sleepless hours later.
That looks better, all cleaned up, doesn't look so scary now. So yeah, this is all sorted, that's all drilled out, ready for some welds. This is all ready for basically some weld through primer. Just got to weld these holes, which I've ground down with the grinder as I was removing it. And there's another repair here, just on the top edge, and that there. So everything else is cleaned up fairly decently. So I'm gonna chuck some welds into these bits of here and make a little panel here and stuff like that. And yeah, we'll start preparing the wing to go on. Nice, less repairs to do on this side than it is the other side, luckily. So let's crack on. All smooth, all ground down, and now I have a couple of repairs to do, but before I repair them, I'm going to put some neutralizer just here. Generalite rust converter. I get asked every single time, and I always put it on the screen, but here it is, rust converter. I use this, brush it on all the bare metal areas, just spray it on all the bits where we had surface rust, and let it dry, and then afterwards I will grind it off, and then I'll put some weld through primer all over it. But yeah, it's literally just brush it on, and then rough it up. This brush is rock hard. Oh, there we go. Nice. Now, I already know there's not going to be a lot of content in this video, and it's just me working day to day, but stuff we need to do, and I'm sure a lot of you will still enjoy it regardless. I am working on bigger, better videos in the background, just making sure we've got actual films, not actual just vlogs of the week, basically. So I'm working on those individually in the background. If you are a member of the YouTube memberships, thank you very much. If you're not, you can go and find out what's going on in the background. But yeah, in the meantime, appreciate everyone that has got involved. But currently, we're just carrying on with the Fiat 126. Comment down below if you actually like these noises in like the 3 times speed, hammering the weld in the grinder and all that. Sometimes it can be quite satisfying to watch, or sometimes it's really annoying. So just let me know in the comments what you actually think of it. Oh, look at the weather. Nice. Summer's coming. Right, everything's lined up. Spent a while, sun's come back out, and yeah, now just weld it all in and do all the little tiny plug welds throughout. So that is exactly what I'm about to do. So there you go, that is a pair of wings now welded on the car. So obviously this one is basically finished. This one I have not ground down yet because I've run out of finger file belts and they haven't turned up in time. So I can't actually grind this flat, but the plug welds are actually quite nice. So they're going to be quite easy to smooth out. Welding settings were working pretty decent. So yeah, I'm happy with that. We can actually finally carry on now and actually start putting the tubs back in. What I am going to try and do, not quite sure how I'm going to do this, but it'd be really, really nice if I could put the tubs back in and then when they're in, weld them through this hole here. So I could weld it down there, tractor. But yeah, like I was saying, it'd be nice to get underneath here to weld the tub, because if this is back in here, I've got to basically come around this side and weld, and it might be a little bit awkward. So if that's still open, I can then weld the tub in, and this can go in afterwards. So yeah, that's what I'm planning, if I can. Obviously, I'll have to remove this, and then this will be a little bit flexible, but I'm sure we'll find out where it's going to land. No problems at all. One winged up Fiat 126. Finally. What we're reckoning then? Put it down in the comments. Are you enjoying this build on the channel? I know this last few episodes on it have been pretty boring, but we can get back into the normal stuff next, and hopefully people are still interested in it, because jobs like this, they seem to carry on and on and on and on. But just need your feedback, basically. The BB, as seen on the channel before, it's back in the workshop for some extra mods, and we're going to be narrowing the rear beam a little bit and stuff like that. So hopefully I can film something on that. But as of today, Thursday evening, I am going to go home. Tomorrow, I'll be putting a car on the ramp for a special road trip episode, one-time thing that I'll be doing with a cool car. So that is what I'll be doing tomorrow. Hope you enjoy this video. Put down in the comments if you're liking the Fiat 126. And other than that, have a lovely weekend, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Also, haircut next week. Don't worry, I'm not looking homeless for too much longer.